Why didn't that cone move, man? If I was really shifty, that cone would have definitely moved. By the end of this video, I'm gonna get that cone to move by showing you how to be shifty. First thing when it comes to shifty is you have to work on the footwork side of things. That's the biggest key. The feet are really, really important. So let's talk some details with these. Now, first of all, like as far as like trying to actually you be shifty and shift the defender, a lot of times that's gonna happen from a harder fake. Now that could be a shorter step or a longer step with either foot, and you can change up angles and things like that with your footwork. But the key is getting those feet in and having those abrupt movements. Those are what's really gonna make you shift, but also those hard fakes are usually what's gonna make the defender shift. Now, obviously one thing that's gonna help with this and everything in this video is having a good handle. The ball on a string workout that's pinned to the comments is gonna help you a ton with this. Click that link, it's helped thousands of players. I'm sure it'll help you too. But let's get on to the next key. Once you start getting better at, adding these harder fakes into your moves, like in and out dribbles, or maybe selling a hard fake and getting into a crossover, where you can really start getting extra saucy with the handles and super shifty, where it's really hard to read what you're gonna do and you kind of get them kind of doing one of these and they're right back on their heels, is when you start adding some maybe smaller baby jab steps to kind of get a feel for them or set them up to make them think, okay, he's about to do something, when's he gonna do it, right? And you're not really making these hard, like super aggressive steps, you're just kind of nonchalant, maybe even a slower step and then getting into a harder step. So where a lot of players go wrong with this is on their jabs. They're just too soft with them, right? There's a time and a place, like I talked, you can use them to set up a bigger jab, but you gotta like aim for that little thing there that you just heard. That's a great hack and tip and cue that you're doing it right. Sneaker squeak, you're probably good. Not all sneakers are gonna squeak really, really good, but if you're doing your jab right, there should be at least a little something. That ties into this next key, which is that change of speed. That's so big. There's a couple different ways we can do change of speed. A lot of the examples I've been showing you so far are like footwork related, right? So making a quick step, slow step, maybe a quick step, right? And a lot of the things I've been showing you have been kind of side to side, right? Whether doing in and out fake, all that stuff's great for being shifty, but it doesn't have to be that. It doesn't even have to be switching hands. It can be kind of more straight line changing speeds. Example, slow, stop, go, right? You could do something like fast, stop, go. You could go from a stop, go, stop, right? Those changes of speed are what's gonna make you deadly. Going from 50 to 100 to 70 to 0, mixing that up is key. Going from 0 to 100 though, this is a little hack for you and a secret. You're not gonna see that from a lot of players. When we say like go to 100%, that means you're exploding, right? To drive as fast as you can, but you'll probably only get up to 80 before you need to stop. But even that will be like a real brief moment where you're not completely stationary. You can see how my hips and my chest are still leaning, and then I'm gonna redirect somewhere. There's very few instances where you'll see a player completely stop and not go up for a shot. Next one, this is a big key. A lot of players don't know about it, but maybe more advanced ones might. Leave a comment, let me know what I'm doing here that's making me a little more shifty, or even maybe here, what's making me more shifty. I'm doing the same thing, but opposite. Watch one more time. First example, second example. High to low or low to high. Those changes of height are killer. And the reason for it is very simple. Defender psychology. There's a big hack for you. It's not always about being the fastest player on the court or the most skilled. It's about being able to manipulate your defender's psychology. So if I come from high to low, what does that make it look like I'm gonna do? I'm probably gonna drive, right? So I can come from that and maybe fake them to come this way and then come back this way. Or I can get them to drop back and then pull right up into my shot. I can maybe go from down low. They think I'm gonna go, come up high to get them to relax. And now I can take advantage of that. Come hard here, maybe blow by them and they don't see it coming and they stumble, right? Or maybe I come from that low, high, make them relax and then go into a hard fake. They start going back and then when I stop, oh no, they try to stop, oh, knee buckles and they go to the ground, right? Those little keys are huge. Adding it into your game with even regular dribbles can do a lot. Where a lot of players go wrong with this is they just don't get down low enough. A lot of players aren't comfortable getting low. Again, if you get the ball on a string, which is pinned to the comments, that's gonna make that easy for you. It's gonna like feel natural just to hang out like here or here for like maybe 6 months or longer. I don't know. Try the program, you tell me. Okay, next key to being shifty. Is this more shifty? Number one, leave a comment. Or number two? Which one do you think is more shifty? One more time. Number one or number two? You probably saw a little difference in one thing right there, which is what we just talked about, the change of height in the hip and chest. So in the first example, I got down a little bit, right? That height change that we talked about. But in the second example, I got a little lower, but the bigger key was in the first example, I didn't really let my hips and chest move horizontally very much. I just kind of went like this, right? But in the second one, I moved my hips a little more. This leg comes a little more straight. This one bends a little more. And then I got my chest down a little bit more over my knee. Now, big tip for this, don't let your chest come past your knee, because now it's really hard to change direction from here and I feel like I'm gonna go timber, and it's over. Just like the other thing we were talking about before, you can, give more baby movements like that, but you can give these bigger ones too. So changing how big the movement is and the speed, so I can go slow, bigger one, and then get into it, right? Where a lot of players go wrong with this is a lot of times they won't maybe have the flexibility in their groin. Sometimes in some of like the knee and the ankle joint, actually is another big one, the ankle, for getting wide and low or even long and low. Again, ball on a string will help kind of develop that mobility naturally just from doing different ball handling drills in it. But make sure, if you do have the mobility, that you're not underdoing the height change and the lean of the hips and the chest by just kind of coming like this. That's just not going to do the job for a lot of defenders. Getting down a little lower and leaning a little bit more, both moving the hips horizontally or forward back and getting that chest movement in is going to do a lot. Okay, so this is another one of those hacks I mentioned at the beginning of the video. Eyes. This is like the easiest, most simple thing, but there's a lot of ways you can use it that a lot of players don't think about. When you tie the eyes in with all the other stuff that we're talking about in this video, that's where you're going to get really, really shifty. For starters, one of my favorite hacks is coming up the court, just getting your eyes to the rim. Like, such a simple thing. And I love this for a lot of reasons, but number one, if I'm looking at the rim and using my peripheral vision to see the entire court, if I want to shoot a shot, I can go from kind of just looking at the backboard and the rim in general to really locking in on a tiny target. I'll link you to a video at the end about what I think you should aim for because it'll help you make more shots. But doing this will allow me to get into my shot a lot more quickly, easily, and effectively and make more shots, right? Because now my body can naturally align to the hoop, but I can also get that hezzy off to get into a crossover, hezzy to drive, right? That's one of the simplest things to use the eyes for, but there's other things we can do. The other is, obviously, I'm gonna drive this way, right? But a lot of players get little details like this wrong. Number one, maybe they'll start to look this way, and then before they even start getting the rest of the movement of the fake in, they'll start looking here. And then that gives them away, right? It lets the defense know, oh, he's about to come this way, and they're just gonna jump in front of you, right? The key is to make sure you stay looking this way until the ball's leaving this hand. If I'm faking left, I don't look right till that ball's out of that left hand. Super simple thing to do. That alone will make you way more shifty. And it doesn't even have to be like on these big fakes, just a little one, right? Boom. Now, to take this a level deeper, it's not even just about the eyes, it can also be about the head, right? Not turning the head too soon, right? Those are a little more obvious things that are gonna give it away. So thinking about the whole package with the face, get your face right. Where a lot of players go wrong with this is when they look, it's like they're faking this way. Sometimes I'll see players like look over here or even over here to fake left. No, that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to get the defender usually, and it depends on what, the situation is, what you're trying to open up, what space on the court. But if I want my defender to think I'm gonna drive this way, which is usually what you wanna do, you kind of wanna look at like the ground, like past their hips, or like in the lane here, like you're looking to drive. And then change direction. Not over here, not over here. You can maybe do this to like set him up to make it, think, oh, he's just chilling, he's gonna pass to a teammate and then go. But to get them to actually move, you gotta sell that drive. And again, think about how they're gonna move with that. That's the other key. If I fake here, they're probably gonna move that same way, right? So that might open a side step here, or if I'm quick enough and take the right footwork step, here's another hack. If I cross over, this foot steps out, this foot also steps across. Now I can get downhill, and as they're going this way, they're sideways with me and I can start sealing them out. But we can get creative with this, stuff like that. So the cross jab, this is a great example of bringing a lot of these things together. We're crossing over one way and we're gonna jab out the other. So we're bringing that footwork in, a little change of height, right? But on top of that, when you add the eyes, boom, you can really freeze defenders or fake them to make them think you're gonna come this way. Especially with like, if you're coming up the court with a little bit of momentum, this is a great, just like, boom, quick move to get off, right? The eyes can do a lot of different things on this move though. If I really sell it and like get into that fake more and look harder that way, more likely than not, I'll get them to move that way. But if I'm looking right at them and then I give that last second, like real quick look, a lot of times we just freeze them and you can blow by them. And that leads me into the next big key, and that's bringing these things together, but also the next thing, which is even better in my opinion, do the next thing and this thing, you're gonna be bonkers shifty. The first thing is misdirection. So when we're talking misdirection, faking everything together, all these things we talked about, right? If I want my defender to think I'm gonna drive this way, I gotta get a foot moving this way, right? We talked about the feet, change of height, I'm gonna get down low, I'm gonna lean this way. Some ball movement, we didn't even talk about that really, but obviously that's a key, right? Moving the ball is gonna help sell a fake usually, right? I mean, but even like, watch me, I won't move the ball's position from my body, but if I move my hips and my chest, that ball moves, right? So just getting that will make the ball move, but I can sell even more with some ball movement, right? But if I really want to get that misdirection, I'm also going to bring my eyes in, right? We're going to bring all these details we've been talking about into the mix to really misdirect them, make them think I'm going to come this way and then come this way. And I've been showing you a lot of, this crossover, but it could also be this crossover. It could be this crossover, right? Doesn't really matter We're just thinking about moving everything one way to really sell that fake. But also with misdirection, that could be really selling everything for a shot fake, right? Making everything look like I'm gonna shoot. My feet, get them in that shooting position, the basketball, my hips and my chest. How do I look when I shoot and get everything as close to that as I can, and then keep my dribble going, you know, wherever the opportunity may lie. Now, when you bring that, all that misdirection into the next thing, which is freezing and or scrambling these cues, that's where you're gonna get really shifty. And that's kind of coming back to that cross shot. That's a great example. You're mixing signals, right? So ball's moving one way, foot other, eyes the other, but maybe you wanna set them up to think like, oh, I know he's gonna do the cross jab. You could do that by maybe ball moves this way, eyes go this way, foot goes this way, right? I'm mixing these signals and I'm getting a little low here. Maybe I don't get as low to make it like, oh, he's obviously doing the cross jab, I'm gonna beat him here. And you know that to set them up into a misdirection, right? You're bringing two different things together. So to go back through that, because I know I just did a lot, and if you're a beginner, like you're like, wait, whoa, slow down. Ball one way, foot the other, eyes this way, hips and chest, maybe we'll say in this instance, will come this way a little bit. And that's like mixing signals, that's scrambling, right? So that's one way of bringing all these elements together. But then the second way is the misdirection, where everything's moving one way to really sell the fake. So we're using this as a setup to make them think, oh, I know what he's gonna do. And you want them to think that they know what you're gonna do because you're setting them up for the boom. They go flying. You're getting shifty, you're shifting them. Everything about that is shifty. There's nothing not shifty about that. You are the most shifty person in the history of the universe. Big key if you want to be more shifty. Like get your basic moves down, right? But with all this stuff, from there, like the biggest thing is about like switching those variables up and kind of breaking free from quote unquote moves. A lot of players getting caught in this trap of trying to be shifty by learning like, okay, this is a shifty move, which it is. This is a shifty move, which it is. Or this is a shifty move, which it is. Great, you can combo those, that's great. That'll make you more shifty. When you understand these details, as far as the hips and the chest, now you can break free from all that. You can do all that shifty stuff with just a regular dribble. You can do a crossover and add extra shiftiness by adding some footwork in, moving the hips and the chest, changing height, right? You can bring all these variables together and be a little more free flowing, and not just in games, but in practice. This will make your practice so much more fun because now you can kind of freestyle by like, okay, what if I go with a crossover, step the opposite direction, and then come from high to low, and then lean into it. Second crossover, maybe I won't lean as much, right? You can kind of play with this and take all these details I'm giving you in this video and bring them together. So rewatch the video, it'll give you a ton of ideas. One other hack you'll see a lot of players do to get a little bit more shifty is what I just did there. I promised you I was gonna get that Kona move by the end of the video. I just did it. But it's some crafty offhand stuff. I'm gonna link you to a video right here that shows you a little bit more about some of those off-arm tactics that defenders hate. Here's a video on what you should aim for while shooting. But again, if you wanna take your handles next level, get that ball on the string work, I'll pin to the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in ball on a string next.